It's a little late, but I know people, they want to write books about their life, leave their legacy. And that's what older people do. Mine is, if I look back at it, I can't believe the things that happened. So instead of writing a book, I'm going to do videos, like a biography. So it started when I was a youngster, 11 years old, lost my mother. She passed away. And this is quite unbelievable, but I'm not the only one that's seen things like this. The moment she passed away, I was in her bedroom. I saw her spirit. She was glowing. And she was like talking to me with telepathy. She said everything would be all right, not to worry. And here I am, 72, and she was right. This is just the start of it. I've had other amazing things. After this happened, at her funeral, I didn't cry because of what happened. I've told other people about it. A lot of people want to be private, but I like to tell my story. It's not a story, it's the truth. I've had other things that were amazing happen, and I'm going to start doing it on here. I don't want to write a book, but it would make a great movie. So my dad was just heartbroken beyond belief. He was very wealthy. He was very successful as a general contractor. He started as a carpenter. When he was 16, he went in the Navy underage. He was on a cruiser during World War II. He worked with the cook in the munitions. And my grandmother got him back, sent him back being underage. Well, while I was in the service, that's when he actually met my mother. She was from Philly. He had 10, altogether it was 10 brothers and sisters. And my grandmother was never married to my grandfather. My grandfather was actually married to someone else. They were dirt poor. They had a washroom. They had to leave the house to use a outhouse. And my dad met her. He was smitten. So that's how they got started. That's how I got started. She moved back to Merrill's Park, and that's what I did. And when she passed, my dad was very wealthy. He was drinking, he was in sour. He wasn't the same for 10 years. Just very devastating. So I'm on the streets basically at 11 years old. You know, no curfew. My dad had caregivers, and they were less to be desired. One of them was showing me sexual things. I remember that. And it gets better. And just, then my dad, after going through all these helpers, sort of say, to take care of us, he found someone, and he went to a bar in Chicago Heights, and he met my stepmother. And she was a wonderful person. She just passed like a few years ago. We were close to her, and she liked to live life and gamble and have fun. Very nice person. Her father had a bar in Chicago Heights. He was a bookie, and the mother was very stern, too stern. Today they put her in jail. I mean, she smacked them. And so finally, my step-grandfather wouldn't hurt a soul. He was so nice. He couldn't take it from my stepmother's mother. And I mean, he wouldn't hurt a fly. He snapped, punched her, broke her jaw, and left. And so my stepmother's mother was so upset. She was a real heavy one, probably tall, 5'8", probably weighed 200 pounds plus. She shriveled down to 130, and they said she was going to die if he didn't come back. And he came back. He came back to her. And she changed. What I left out was Al Capone used to go to that bar, his entourage. So as we move on, he came into my life, and she was really nice. She was basically a nice person. And I'm not going to do it all, the biography in one session. This is just the beginning. And my stepmother, so to speak, came into my life when I was about 14 or 15. And my older brother was really involved in music. He was a great guitarist, unknown. And his first group was the Brooks, Chicago Garage Band. And actually, that's on my playlist. They call it the Jeff Crandall Group. He played as good as Jimmy Page. His band at that time, the Rooks, had the sound of Freddie Mercury. The song is Free Sunday Paper. It's on my playlist. And I got involved with music too. I introduced him to this guitarist I knew. This guitarist, his name was Ed Reynolds. When he went on, and he made guitars for Bon Jovi and a lot of other great musicians. So getting back to my brother, his group played with the Grateful Dead, the Turtles, I think the Doors, and a lot of other groups. I remember when Dave Clark 5 was out of boat in Williams Bay performing. And then I got into a band. First band was 13, was a few people. Then my second band, the drummer, is now playing with Canned Heat. And it gets smaller and smaller. One of the first drummers was in my band, is playing drums for Bachman Turner Overdrive. So I was in another band, and I was singing a lot of the lead songs. I had a good voice. I was 16. We were in the basement of the church and playing American Band and Some Kind of Wonderful from Grand Funk. That's one of the videos I did. I got American Band. They made me take it off. It had 10,000 views. The other one had 3,000 views. You can still view them. You know, my site is Last Ranger at Last Ranger 1330. When I think back on it, it's amazing. So, to go on from there, I was raised right. And here's the sad thing. I was going to Proviso East High School, and there was racism back then. But I was never a racist. I had friends that were dark, not me. And I had a few girlfriends. They were dark. They're calling my house, and my dad's hanging up on them. And that's why artists like Marvin Gaye, I think they're the greatest. Sly and the Family Stone, I think they're the first supergroup. 4 voices that sing as one. This is incredible. And to realize that the only thing that YouTube wouldn't block was Little Richard, and he's the forefather of all of it. You know, they copied him. Jimi Hendrix got his start with Little Richard. And I heard that Elvis and Little Richard were the start of rock and roll. Then they all copied them. like that Goldilocks guy. Great balls of fire. So the music was really involved in our life. And you go on from there, you know, you weren't a star, you had to go to work. So my first job, I worked at Walgreens. I was 16. Worked behind the counter, the soda fountain. And, you know, then I went to another job. You know, I was a little older, worked at a printing company. About 18 or 19, I had to drive down to the city. I had to drive down Chicago Avenue. And I'll bring this up, there was a snowstorm and my car got stuck. And the black people came out and they helped me get my car going again. And I was polite, and they were polite to me. I think they're the nicest people in America. And I'm glad that most of this racism is over. I still have dark friends. I have all kinds of friends. I make friends with Japanese, it doesn't matter. We're all one. I love the Indian people from India. They're so intelligent. My doctors, 2 doctors, 3 doctors, are Indian. They're just wonderful people, happy and positive. And that's what we need to be during these times. Nobody wants to hear negativity, certainly not me. And we move on, you know, from there. After the printing company, I met a woman from the city, Ukrainian village. She was Ukrainian. And everything was fine. It was great till I was 30. And then after we married, then the problem started. And they just escalated. And I still think she's a nice person, but she worries about what people think. She never understands that you do what you do. Anything goes in this world today. You know, and, you know, you may not like it, but it is what it is. People don't stare at your shoes or your arms or whatever, or your weight. They look at your soul, what kind of person you are. So after I was 30, my dad asked me to run his business for him. And so he was really good to me, but he wasn't right. He always would say, you take care of Dad first, then do the business. So I'm shuffling all this. And at the same time, my younger brother was a terror, and he terrorized my dad, and my dad didn't know what to do. He told me one day, he says, well, I feel sorry for David because he only has one good eye. He was always spoiling my younger sister. And then my older brother and my dad just didn't get along. And he said to me, he says, you're the one, you're gonna lead the family. You know, you're the smart one. And I did. I kept my family afloat financially. My dad built 1,000 buildings. And he wasn't really nice. I remember when he was hitting my mother left. And she had a black eye. He begged her to come back. He went to Philly, and he came back, and he changed. But the drinking, because after she passed away, was just horrible. One day, he was in the basement with me, and he had a loaded gun, and he said, never point an unloaded gun at anyone. He didn't know it was loaded, and he shot out the window in the basement. It just, those were different times. We improved on that. You don't have that much. We don't allow parents to take belts to children anymore. That's what we used to get. I used to get the belt because my younger brother did something. And just, you know, it is what it is. Fortunately, my dad, as he got older, he got nicer. And, you know, the rest of the family basically leached off of my younger sister. And all she does is complain. I said, I don't want to hear it. People don't want to hear complaining. You have to be positive. That's toxic. Everybody has problems. from there, my marriage went bad, and she was too controlling. And you know what type of person I am. You're not going to control me. I divorced her. I divorced her. No, that was about, I don't know, about 20 years ago. And I was a little wild. For a while after my dad died, I wouldn't say I was insane, but I did something that's not ordinary for me. I got in trouble. I was drinking. I was in the wrong places. And it was with the wrong people. I did that for a couple of years, and I was drinking. Luckily, I survived that and stopped. And then I hurt my credit during that time. I got scammed, like a lot of people do. And I ran up debts from being in the wrong bars. And I settled most of them. I had a girlfriend, 20 years younger than me, which is not uncommon, but it turned out she was deceiving me and using me and begging me to co-sign for her car, which I did. She made the payment for a while and she stopped making the payment. So you get the idea. I was a bad boy during that time. I just kind of snapped when I lost my father. I had the family coming down my butt because my dad left me with the business. Now it's very successful. Worked hard to get there. I've been running the strip center that he built for 40 years. And it's finally paying off. But now the problems continue. You know, so with my younger brother, like my older brother, no one could put up with him. So I'm not gonna let him terrorize me. One day, when I was younger, he was drinking and he ransacked my kitchen. And I pressed charges. And I remember he begged me to take the charges away. And so I did. But he never changed. He's settling down now because his wife tells him what to do. You know, it happened. So this is my biography. There's more. I remember I had a girlfriend when I was 18. I met her up in Williams Bay, I think it was. And she invited me to the college. And so I went there. I had no problem. Denver, Colorado, I drove there. But I know when I wanted to go back home, he told me, make sure you have chains on the car, on the tires. So here I am up in the mountains, and here comes a blizzard. And no guardrail. I'm coming down the mountain in a blizzard. The car spun around 3 times. And then, wouldn't you know it, I seen a brake. Spun around 3 times, and in my head it was like a movie reel going off. And the brakes were overheating. I thought it was a goner. Sure enough, the car started coming down. The brakes stopped overheating. And a bright white sun came out. And I just came down the mountain with no problem. How do you explain that? The brakes overheating, and then they were okay. That was kind of strange. But the next thing I tell you is even stranger. I was in Williams Bay, Wisconsin. A tornado or cyclone came over the top of my head. Literally, my brother was there, the younger brother. The water separated. They actually separated, and the fish were flopping on the mud. I mean, those are now you know the 3 experiences that were unreal. And, you know, I'm going back and forth because it's a little hard to remember something from over 40 years ago. I remember when I was 16, I had girlfriends like everybody else. And one of my girlfriends went on to be Miss Teenager. Her name was Linda. She was on Teen Magazine doing commercials with Joe Namath. the other girlfriend I had went on to marry an airline pilot. He lives in California. She has 5 kids. I saw a picture of her a few years back. She's just a couple of years younger than me, but she looked like she was 40. She really took care of herself. Never smoked, did the bad things, but I don't know what happened after that. And then, because I ruined my credit, I became homeless. I was moving in motels, and here I have this strip center, I have this income, and I'm moving from hotel to hotel. And during that time, I met someone that helped me move. I don't, he wasn't, as far as I know, he wasn't doing anything bad, but when I met his mother, the mother was a police officer, decorated police officer, and she said that he was the bad seed. And sure enough, he was. Remember when we had a vacant townhouse, and my family, and I moved in there. He helped me move in, and so then he gets a buddy of his. The guy's name was Eric, and he was only going to stay a few days. Well, it turned out he homesteaded in my house, and it gets even dicier. They wrecked the place, caused about $5,000 in damage, and this Eric guy, his girlfriend, had an uncle on the police force, so it was really fishy. And I remember I locked them out and changed the lock. They broke the locks and got back there, and he tells the police I took his inhaler. So the police stopped me and searched the car. Here, I'm not even doing anything. This was terrible. Then from there, my stepdaughter bought a place, the Bloomfield Club, and she invited me to live there. I don't think I was there a week, and she told me to get out. That's when I went back with my ex. That was about at least 7 years ago. We weren't together, it was just a roommate. And then one thing led to another, and I'm paying for everything. I made a nice income, and I was supporting her. She was only making $600 a month. And that's where it turned out. She had a massive heart attack, and I'm in the hospital. And her sister telling me, well, you're not her husband anymore. What an evil thing to say. So I got out of there because my ex was going to die. So when she got out, she had cognitive damage. And she was supposed to stay there. They were going to help her. She begged me to get her out. She wanted to leave. So I brought her home, and she was never the same. I took her to all her rehabs, all her doctor's appointments. And, in the meantime, I'm spending all my money on her. So I ended up paying her 10 years of alimony after my alimony was paid off. I wasn't going to let her die. And so I did my YouTube creating about 7 years ago, because I didn't know nothing how to use it. I started doing it again about 2 months ago, and I learned how to do everything. And I like to sing and do everything, dance and do comedy. And she was always screaming from the upper floor, stop, stop. It just was terrible. And so finally she got to the point, because whatever reason, she didn't want me being friendly with people, and that's my nature. So then she made up a story, and it got worse, and she started hitting me. This was about a week ago. I mean, not now, but at that time, she was starting to hit me, physically hit me. And it got a little worse. In the meantime, this woman had 400 blood sugar readings a couple months ago. I went to the doctors, and I got her down to 120 with their medicine. And I didn't tell you that she can't drive with her bad feet, and so I had to leave. And she called up the police, at one point and said I cut her. She self-inflicted her wounds. And I never cut her. I never hurt her. Never hurt anybody. So this is what I get for giving up my life to save her. And her whole family went against me. It was all my fault because I wouldn't sit on the shelf and not do nothing and don't talk to people, even if they're strangers. That they talk to me, I talk back. And now I'm out of there again. Just dumped out, like getting hit in the face. Her whole family's against me. And she could be a mass murderer, and they would side with her. So this is the start of the biography. As I think of more things, I'll come back out here again. I don't know if this interests you, but I think it's amazing. I made it. Then another thing happened to me in the last few weeks. I had a scam artist. They went in the garbage and took my check, and they presented it to the Verizon store. So my bank this is going on now. The bank put the money back, and it's going to be investigated for 90 days. Told the police. It wasn't 7 days later. It happened again. Well, I can't prove it. I believe it's the two petty thieves that I was staying with in the townhouse. That's what's bad about being in the wrong place at the wrong time. And that's ongoing. How foolish can you be at the Verizon store to take the check? Now I'm in the process of trying to get these people caught and Verizon liable. How stupid can you be? So at this point now, I'm not taking all checks off of my account. I'm not paying anything with checks. I have 5 Gmail accounts and 2 phones. And I do my own security. And I'm 72. What are people doing when they're 80s? Lock them up in a room and let them just watch TV? I mean, we are starting to catch them. We have people that do that, go after them. But we're losing billions on scam artists. And maybe we're recovering millions. I got videos of their operation. Because you can fool me once, but you fool me twice, I'm the fool. It's not happening no more. Now I have to live my life without writing checks. And because of this, I had to change banks. I had to change banks and go to, I haven't done it yet. I have to go to the Social Security office and Medicare, all the hours on the phone, press 1, what's your user, what's your password. I hate that. I never want to put another app in it. Oh, you call the doctor's office, oh, put the app in. Well, their app got scammed too. We're at war in this country with cyber war. I mean, I think part of it's these maniacs crashing their cars in the school buildings. So I covered a lot of my biography here, but not all of it. No, it's just, I've never seen anyone get killed, but I've seen a lot of bad things happen in fights and bars. And fortunately, that's cleaned up now. That was, 7 years ago. I don't want to mention a lot of names, but can you imagine that? I saved the grandmother's life. I take her to the doctors, and for that, they all can't stand me because I wasn't the good boy that would just sit there and twiddle his thumbs. Leave a comment in the comment section. It doesn't bother me anymore. I've meet new friends. I have my own family, and you can choose your friends, but you can't pick your family. Everyone has family members that are goofy, or some don't, and they're raised right. Which my family, without a mother, brother was a fantastic person. My older brother, the younger brother, he's not so gifted. Like I said, just leave a comment in the comment section. And Tell me what you think about it, and I'll continue this biography later. Thank you.